Security VIP is the official podcast of the security industry, from manufacturers to end users and everything in between. Security VIP is your home for nothing but the truth.
You think you know me?
You're listening to the Security VIP Podcast, hosted by Taylor May, the official podcast of the security industry and home of nothing but the truth. Today on Security VIP, we feature the Director of Surveillance of Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan, Tony Clark. Get ready for nothing but the truth.
Security VIP Nation, what is going on? Welcome back to an episode of the Security VIP Podcast, the official podcast of the security industry. And you already know, it's your home for nothing but the truth. As always, I'm your host, Taylor May, and on today's episode, we're featuring the Director of Surveillance of Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan, the man himself, Mr. Tony Clark. Tony, welcome, brother, to Security
thanks,
VIP.
Taylor. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, that's right. You know, this is like I always say this, man. It's like now you're a veteran of Security VIP because the first and you actually got a good taste because you got a live session in person. The attendance was hit or miss that conference, but still, it was good to have you on an episode, man, and kick off kind of your debut of Security VIP at IC West.
Yeah, it was pretty great, especially getting to work with Eddie. I mean, that was a blast.
100%, man. So I know you've got such a vast background, dude. We could spend probably 2 hours talking about your background, but give us kind of that holistic view of what Tony Clark's all about.
My whole thing was I came into the gaming industry just roughly about 27 years ago. I was a medic. I mean, that was my thing. I was a, firefighter medic. And then I ended up going into table games for a little bit of time. Tried that for a while and opening popped up in surveillance. And I thought, hey, you know what? Let's give this a shot. And I've been kind of moving up the ladder. The smaller property that we have in Standish. I was there when we opened that. And next thing I know, I'm the director for Soaring Eagle Enterprises in Saginaw Chippewa, the whole nation. So
it's kicking ass and taking names, man. It's funny you bring that up because Jolene said the same thing, dude. She was like, Taylor, I didn't find surveillance found me. And it's just fell into her lap. It sounds like the same thing for you, man.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where you can say, I chose a career. You don't choose this career. This career chooses you.
Yep. I said the same thing, dude, when I was playing football at Oklahoma State. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a sports agent. But then I'm like, do I want to go to law school? No, not really. So it's it's whatever kind of falls in your lap and whatever you have a drive for. And you're having fun, dude. That's the other thing too, I think, with your job. Obviously you're excelling, but you're also having a passion for it and you're actually enjoying what you do.
Oh yeah. I mean, and one of my favorite things is teaching. One of the things that I do teach is risk management, crisis mitigation, on an overall perspective, not just for surveillance, but an overall security perspective and what to deal with. And people don't realize that surveillance plays such a huge role in risk management for your properties. So, I mean, that's the key.
And that's what we're going to talk about today with a little mix of in between of that. But risk management and crisis management, I mean, that was a topic that you have a passion for. And that's actually what you teach. I mean, at the World Gaming Conference that Willie and Joe put on, you teach a course about that, which I think is fantastic. So talk about that further, Tony. Talk about, I guess, how it's changed, obviously, with you, being in your career, but kind of the impact that it's making right now for the gaming surveillance world.
Well, you have to look in general at some of the things that have happened over the past 3 to 5 years. We're talking the Mandalay Bay shooting, and we're talking the shooting over for the Oneida Nation. I mean, these are big things that are turning in this world, and every day is a different day. We don't know what's going to happen. It's not just everybody comes in and goes entertainment type thing. You don't know what's on people's minds, especially coming out of this pandemic, man. I mean, we've had more drug overdoses. We've had more suicides. We've had more, multiple things that if somebody wants to make a name for himself, because apparently social media is now the way to get your name out there, not just, the news. And how do you blow it up? How do you become somebody, when you're nobody? You make an impact on something. So that's one of the reasons why we have to be prepared on our end. And that's one of the things that I teach is the passion, how to read people, use your cameras, learn body language, you use that cryptology, watch the mannerisms, especially if you're regular players that come in all the time. I mean, you get to know exactly what bartender they're going to, what drink they're going to order. If they mix things up, those are kind of little red flags to start looking at.
We talked about this too at IC West, man, and I'll go to bat for this anytime. I feel like the surveillance gaming industry probably the most complicated environments to protect right now, just because 24/7, always open, and you don't know who the hell is going to walk into that casino. It could be a good day, could be a thug, could be, Joe Blow Smo from out of state that just wants to cause havoc. And like you said, they got a mission in mind. They want to be on the front page of the news. That's a majority of all these active shooters nowadays, man. They want to be publicly famous. And how do they become publicly famous overnight? Well, they can shoot up a casino, they could blow a building up, they could do something horrible, and which get them national recognition. So what's the challenge though right now that you see the most in your environment at Soaring Eagle and throughout the tribe when it comes from that kind of crisis mitigation management feature?
Some of the biggest things actually is everybody has handguns. I mean, there's so many permits out there, for nearly every state in the union. And realizing that when you come onto a sovereign nation, you can't be bringing those with you. So, weapons detection systems and the old day Garrett metal detectors, don't get me wrong, they're great. Come on, everybody's used them at some time or another for concerts, whatever. Same thing with the little wand, empty your stuff into a fry tray. But technologies are what are making it easier for us to do our jobs now. Like one of them that I utilize is Evolve Technologies. I mean, there's Patriot, there's so many different ones, but Evolve Technology is a non-hands-off, it's a hands-free, people just walk through. If there's something that strikes, we hit it, we deal with it, we move on. You're talking this outdoor venue that we have seats roughly 15,000 people, 15 to 16,000 people, and we can run them people through there in about 45 minutes.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's, the technology, but the biggest thing is showing that you can create a return on investment. People look at surveillance and we're not a money-making department. We don't make money. I'm here to tell you, we make money. The average fraud, as far as risk management fraud, was, I think last year was through the report, $300 billion.
Right.
And that's trip and fall. That's, any little thing. What do people do when they come to a casino? Oh, I fell down. I hurt my arm. What does surveillance do? We make sure we get all the reports and everything lined up. We get all the video. We get everything set for them. So, I mean, we are a return on investment, because one person falls and sues your casino for, however many hundreds of thousands of dollars. That goes back on your insurance. Now that goes out on your name. Once again, here we are, social media. I went to Soaring Eagle. I tripped and fell, and they did this and they were like this. And we have to make sure that we protect the assets of our company.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, man, but that's the thing, man. It's like some people just talk about making changes and putting procedures, initiatives in, and talk is cheap. Like that's I learned that from football. You learn any sport, right? You can talk a big game, everything, until you actually fucking put up or shut up and put the policy in place. That's where real initiative change. And that's the thing we were pointing about earlier about weapons detection. Tony, I want to ask you this, man. Like, that what happened with Mandalay Bay in Vegas, man, MGM property. Do you think, honestly, that if there was an evolve or concealed weapon detection solution in place, that we could have prevented that from ever happening, or at least slowing it down? Or what do you think?
110% that could have been prevented.
Yeah.
A mix between the weapons detection systems and maybe a LiDAR tracking, showing this guy's pattern back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, and that's another thing with surveillance, some of these technologies, LiDAR. Eddie and I brought that up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it at the
Let's
thing.
talk about it.
Yeah. ISC. So LiDAR, if you want to create it as a return on investment, you can tell them, you use it in surveillance to track patrons who steal an item or a purse or whatever. But you can also use it as a marketing tool. You know where your heavy traffic is. You know where your cold traffic is. So this allows you to show your marketing department, hey, surveillance is useful because we can help you make money by using our technologies and allowing you access to look at it.
And that's the key to getting everything funded, right? Is you tap into that marketing budget, because they got all the capital, right? They get
exactly.
They got more money than surveillance. So just
go knock down
the door and say, hey, look, I got something cool for you. It's gonna make you more money. Plus, it's going to help us both out, right? And
Well,
we talked about that too, Tony. Like on the phone the other night, LiDAR drones, dude, up for
oh,
your outdoor event, man. Talk about that real quick.
yeah, drone system. Yes, that would be amazing. That's what we're working for. Trust me, I'd love to have it. But no, this way you can track anything that's going on with a 360 degree, that range that they cover. Actually, it's cheaper than a camera. You know, you put a sensor up there, a standard camera is 140 to 160 degree lens. PTZ's a little bit less, but you actually have to function and move it and spin it around. And with the LiDAR, I mean, it's instant, constant. That data is coming back in milliseconds to you. Right. So you can track anything and everything.
Right.
So yeah, that's drones on the concert outdoor venues. Next step, next evolution.
And that's what I talked about, dude. So when I started my podcast 2 years ago, I talked about new innovation and emerging technologies. Obviously, AI and computer vision was strong heavily, 2 years ago. But LiDAR was just so new at the time until I met a guy named Gerald Becker, who you met at IC West with Quantergy. And I saw a demo of the technology because I was like, it wasn't my first, I guess, awareness to LiDAR and what the technology could do. But when I saw the product that Jared was showing, I was like, damn, dude, this is the huge ROI on this right now. Huge ROI. And I do want to give a plug to Gerald. He's got some incredible technology, man. I love that guy. But it's reassuring to see certain industries take that step towards being proactive. And I told Josh and John this too at Cherokee Nation in the state of Oklahoma, obviously tribal based too.
Right.
There's certain tribes have their own, stigmas and their own perspectives on how they handle business. But I feel like Cherokee Nation is just always on the forefront of new technology. And it sounds like to me, obviously, Tony, I don't know the Michigan landscape too well, but it sounds like you're always at the forefront of battle testing, being that pioneer, trying to take the next step towards evolution of security. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's what we try to do. I mean, we beta test a lot of things for people just to do it, just to get our hands on it. Come on, I want a toy to play with anyways. I'm the big guy that's security, medic, firefighter, all this stuff. Now I'm a computer geek, believe it or not, and I love it.
But that's the thing, man. It's like I look around the U.S. from the gaming casino landscape, and you obviously got Eddie and Ted over there at MGM. They're leading the pack. They're always testing shit. They're always doing 5 or 10 projects. Josh and John in Oklahoma, same scenario. You in Michigan, same scenario. I mean, dude, I wouldn't say there's few, but it's hard to find. It's definitely hard to find those select few individuals in each vertical that I go after and just have on my podcast that are really leading the pack. So I want to give a shout out to Tony Clark, and people who don't know Tony Clark, please. Tony is a man of many trades, guys. So I'm not going to share all of his secrets on this podcast, but when you reach out to him, he'll tell you all of his little secrets. If you have that special relationship, again, I'm not going to, put you on blast here with all your special.
No, that's all right. That's all right, man. I get it.
So what do you think, Tony, has been, I guess, we talked a little bit about this IC West. We talked about the biggest ROI. Obviously, you've done a lot of initiatives with your casino. But what do you think has been that driving factor towards your success? Has it been just your educational knowledge of learning from others and then teaching your own kind of CRE and your kind of swim lane that you teach to others? Is it new technology? Is it just what's kind of been that biggest success factor for you?
Actually, a lot of it has been, doing the study, learn it on your own. I had some amazing mentors when we started out in the industry with video VCR tapes and 24-hour, multiplexers and all that fun stuff. But when something new would come in, you'd want to get your hands on it. You'd want to test it. You'd want to play with it. Well, now there's so many new things out there that you just want to try everything. So that's what you do. You work with your budget, you work with your other departments, and see what you can get them to assist you with. Because like I said, surveillance is not looked at as an environment where we make money. We're not a progressive return on an investment. Until you get that old lady, who loses that COT for 36 cents, you get it back to her that quick, and she tells all her friends. And the next thing you know, you have the Red Hat Club all on a bus tour because we're going to that casino because they took the time and effort, to make sure we were safe and protected. So if you get things like that, that allows you the ability to show them that, hey, we do make a difference. So there's new technology. Why don't we give it a shot? Let's try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there's no reason why we can't reach out to these companies and ask, hey, for this minimal amount of money, let's try one. Kind of like, well, the LPRs. Let's give them a little plug to Roker. It's like I said, send me a quote. Let me give it a shot. I'll put it up at my small property, and that's kind of where my beta property is the smaller property, Saginaw Eagles Landing. People aren't very familiar. I mean, we do have. So when Taylor says Saginaw Chippewa Enterprises or Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe, we're talking 3 casinos spread out through 80 miles, a water park, municipalities, everything that encompasses in an entire nation. The government side, the retail side, anything and everything you could imagine with 3 casinos and an indoor water park. I mean, come on. We got room to take a nap and relax a little bit here.
Talk about this, Tony. I mean, because people all bring this up, Taylor. Like, Taylor, you talk a lot about great initiatives, a lot about great solutions, man. But it's always the battle with cost and budget. I want to hit home on this a little bit about your approval process with your tribe. I mean, talk about that. And we talked about a little bit this about IC West. Eddie talked about his approval process. But do you find it a challenge, or you find it like just a relief because you have a seat at the table with leadership and say, hey, if I bring you something, Tony, I know I can trust Tony, it's going to fucking work. Or if it doesn't work, Tony's going to take accountability for it not working, and we're going to move on to find something else that does fit better. I mean, what's that process or relationship with your, I guess, the budget team or the leadership team when it comes to getting things approved?
It all varies. Every 2 years we have a new council election. So every 2 years things can evolve, change, depends on what other projects you have going on as well too. You have to we take into basis what our annual predictions are, and we allocate so much for IT, allocate so much for all these other, table game marketing, which is the biggest budget. So that's where you try to get into that's why I say partner up. If there's a product out there that you think is a good product, partner up, communicate. Don't be the guys, especially a lot of tribal and native gaming, surveillance is like the afterthought.
Yep.
For everything.
Yep.
We're always pushed to the backside because we don't really work for the casino, but we do work for the casino, but we work for tribal government under the gaming commission. So how do you throw all that together is you actually just have to communicate with the other directors. If marketing, once again, like we were talking about earlier, I sent the clip up to my marketing director and I said, check this out. What do you think of this? Just like evolve with our security director. Hey, what do you think of this technology? Do you think you could help out, and we can do this as a team? Biggest thing is surveillance. You have to have a team, and you have to be the cog of that team because you're the one that's supposed to be up on the research and all the intelligence and all the technologies. And because the slot guys are doing slots, the security guys are doing, how to de-escalate situations. Table games guys are trying to find people to train for craps. What does surveillance do? We have to oversee it all.
Yep. So
we have to be the front runners when it comes to the tech. So do your study. There's so many just Google, Access, Evolve, any of these companies that you would even be interested in. Just Google.
But you think, Tony, like Googling something would be so easy to do, dude? But like a lot of these people don't do any of that. They won't even take the initiative.
And YouTube, on top of that, they'll even give you a demo and a review on somebody that doesn't even deal with the product. They just want to give it a shot and say, hey, we heard this was a decent product. We have nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. But I have this page with technology, and I'm going to tell you whether or not it's crap.
Mm-hmm.
All the resources are there. Don't go to the company pages. Go to the company pages if you want specs, measurements, that type of thing. But if you want real true reviews, just type it in. Reviews, YouTube videos, true review. Let them tell you that, we tried this weapon system. We tried this camera form. We tried this camera form. It's shit. It's crap. Great. Go on to the next one.
Yeah.
We have these great cameras, but it comes with a license. Hey, I'm going to buy a camera, but I'll give you the free license. Well, that's wonderful, but your camera sucks. I get a free license. And I can get another one over here for $300 less. Pay the money for the license, and it's a better quality camera. It's a testing field. Everything we do is a testing field in this industry.
It's just common sense, dude. You would think, and it's education, man. And that's the thing. I feel like sometimes with these not just in gaming, but in certain verticals like retail, for example,
Yep.
the animosity between certain departments sometimes is just a simple lack of education. Because if someone from security or asset protection or surveillance is trying to bring a new solution in place, and they're maybe asking for a certain amount of funds from marketing or ops or legal or whatever bucket they're trying to pull from, the perception of surveillance sometimes, at least I know in education in K through 12 and sometimes retail, is like, well, why would we ever spend this much money on a solution if we don't have crime here, or we never have a threat here, or we don't have issues like that? Why would we spend that kind of money, Tony? Talk about that real quick, because that's important. Because I know gaming's different. There's different challenges in gaming, but like other verticals, man, that are just simply not as influx and inflow of people coming in and out. Talk about that real quick.
See, the biggest thing is, who would have thought the Mandalay Bay thing would have happened? It's not an if, it's a when. Well, what if this never happens? What if this doesn't happen? That's not what you need to ask yourself. It's, when is this going to happen? Why were we not prepared? And what do we need to prepare ourselves when it does happen?
Yep. It's preparing for the unknown. And like, I don't want like people to think like, well, Taylor or Tony, you can't think like that, man. You can't be in a world where you think something bad going to happen. But it's like, dude, do you know where the society has changed, 30 less years ago? Like, go to an airport a lot differently than it was pre 9/11, like, I don't know, man. There's just this mentality, and so, like, we get it, right? And I think if we come off in a way where it makes sense to the average like perception, I think it would hopefully lean towards what we're feeling. It's not like you're coming with all these crazy ideas. Like, it's not like, hey, I want to put, prison gates around the casino. I want to build a moat around the casino. Yeah, it's like it's just simple, simplistic solutions that are proactive, not reactive, that will make life easier for everyone. I mean, that's what you're doing.
Look at what we did with the pandemic. How many people put plexiglass on?
Yeah.
What was that? That was a cost in order to, create that safe environment feeling.
Yep.
Because believe it or not, how many times did somebody come in and wipe that glass off after that person was sitting there with that mask and everything, and patrons in and out and in and out and in and out and touching cards and, all this and that. And yeah, we clean all the time. We steam clean, we, sanitize, we do that, but come on.
Dude, it was so reassuring going to Orlando last week with not wearing a mask for once on a flight. Oh my God, dude.
Oh, I know.
Talk about a relief. But I get it, dude. And when I went to go see Josh and John at the Hard Rock in Tulsa, they had, during the pandemic, they had the plexiglass between slot machines, between games. Games were spread out. I'm just like, and I talked to him. I was like, this sucks, dude. He's like, yeah, Taylor, it's ugly. It's ugly. It makes our casino ugly, And I get it, man. So talk more about crisis management, man, and kind of what your plan is in place for the tribe and Soaring Eagle. How are you, like, what's step one to crisis management for you guys?
Number one is just actually do your research, do your study, prepare, create an action plan. Number one is to create an action plan, because without an action plan, anything that's going to happen or could happen, you're not going to be prepared for it. And that's the difference between risk management and crisis management. You can't manage a crisis. You can manage risk by putting these steps ahead, creating your 5-step plan. And if anybody wants, I feel free to reach out to Taylor and I would definitely send you a proof copy, not the real copy that I use, because there's a lot of proprietaries of that. But
IP, baby.
But no, make sure you have a plan. Who are you going to contact when something happens? What are the steps? How are you going to, what department handles what situation? I mean, right down to having books with all the policies and procedures for each department, because you're going to have table games people that don't know exactly what to do when there's an incident that occurs, or the same thing with a new cashier. So you want to make sure you have these articles available, even if it's on a computer, where all you have to do is just hit a button, touch it, pop, there it is. PDF file pops up, your PowerPoint, whatever. Click on tornado. This is what we do during a tornado. Be prepared is the biggest thing, because if you practice that and go through that on an annual basis or even a biannual basis, kind of like, have you ever been familiar with some of the, mass accident things that'll happen? where we have like the triage out in the parking lot because a plane, whatever, landed in the field across the road, and our fire department and everything. So we go out and we work triage. We basically take these steps annually with our local dispatch and our county dispatch and everything else. But it's make sure you have a plan. And then, because what you need to remember is you have to practice it, because then it becomes muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Just like, hey, if the quarterback rolls to the right and I'm a left defensive end and he rolls to his right, I'm on a splat back because the linebacker is going to cover my outside. So
Tony's speaking my language right now because I played defensive end at Oklahoma State. So
what I said, as soon as the man rolls out to the right and I'm on the opposite side, I get free game now. Just watch that guard coming.
You know what the best part about all this, Tony, is? You said planning a lot, making an action plan. You know how much that cost? Nothing.
Zero.
Planning's free, dude.
How many sheets of paper and what kind of a computer do you have sitting with you? Notepads, pen and paper. And don't just do it as your own department. Do it as a group.
Yes.
Sit down and do it as a group.
Round table. Yep.
Do a round table. Get everybody's ideas, because do I have the greatest ideas? No. But if I take my idea and portion it with another individual's idea, the two idealistics create an even better option than what was originally planned. And that's why you need to review it and go over it. Every, biannually, if not every quarter.
Yeah.
Because every season changes. And with the seasons change, that's a different risk that you have. I mean, up here in Michigan, we have flooding. I mean, if anybody didn't see the dams that broke last year and took out, half of the town and part of Midland, and, we have a lot that we deal with. We have Dow Chemical, one of the largest chemical plants in the world, 40 miles down the road from us. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things, not just active shooters. I mean, yes, everybody does prepare for active shooters and thefts and this and that, but there's so much more to an action plan than risk management. Because now once you get that, the risk management portion, but because crisis mitigation, you don't know. When it happens, you don't have time to think. You have to react. That's why you have to have this risk management plan and completely go over it and over it and over it, not with just your personnel, but the entire casino, the tribe, police department, fire department. Make sure everybody's involved. Make sure everybody's active, knows what to do, because what happens if we had a shooter up in the concert venue? You don't know this type of thing. That's why you have to have prepared, because as soon as it becomes a crisis, preparedness is too late.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to do what they do. You're either going to fight, flight, or freeze.
Yep.
And those are the three options you have.
Yeah.
So
you think all this is common sense, Tony, but obviously a lot of people need to hear this, dude, because people do freeze when these situations happen. And if you have an action plan or a mustering location or somewhere to go or something to do and something to follow, I mean, the cause of tragedy and everything else would, I wouldn't say be eliminated, but it'll definitely be mitigated a lot lower, if we had plans in place. Something else, Tony, that I thought I learned from you while we were in Vegas, man, as you told me this, so I thought was really, really cool, is like when you actually hire for, what do you guys call them? Surveillance technicians, operators.
Yeah.
You look for gamers. You look for coders. You told me that. I thought that was so fascinating. I was like, this guy is smart as shit. He's actually, because you know what gamers do, man. Their hand-eye coordination is, spot on, dude. So they can look at things simultaneously. They're good multitaskers. They can act quick. All the Call of Duty and all that stuff they play, right? But that's what you look for, right? You look for gamers.
That's exactly what I look for. Younger kids that I know want to stick around for a while, because once you get into this industry and this career, it becomes your pattern for life. It seems like this puts a foothold on that pattern. And right now, gaming is huge. E-gaming is huge.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Call of Duty. Come on. Grand Theft Auto. No, we're not going to get the same thing from Grand Theft Auto as you do a Call of Duty, but the attention span that you can spend on a game for 8 to 10 hours at any given time without getting up, except maybe to use the restroom, grab your monster, and tell your buddies, hey, I'm not going to spawn this time. So yeah, just those are the people that I want, because there's little nuances, because what happens is they get into a focal point where they're watching a game, then all of a sudden there'll be a light, even just a flicker of a light, which is what? A camera pixel change, right?
Yep.
Same thing on a camera. You'll have the same static picture, and all of a sudden flick, you got a pixel or 4 or 5 pixels over here in the corner that go off. That kid will automatically tune in on that. And that's, like I said, that's one of my biggest things. I don't care how you are at math. I don't care. I can teach math. I can teach how to count cards. I can teach this. I cannot teach concentration.
Yeah.
And I can't teach, experience when it comes to being able to pick up the JDLRs. Just doesn't look right items.
I love that, dude. And that's what I thought was so cool when you told me that. I was like, because it just makes sense, dude. Especially with esports taking off right now, how much it is. Like, those kids would be great for roles like this, especially in gaming. It's a whole new career path that maybe someone's not thinking of when they're right out of college, or even, I mean, how young are you taking these kids though, Tony? What's the minimum age gap?
You got to be able to get a gaming license. It's got to be 18.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So I mean, that's awesome, man. So I'll probably do a snippet of that and just promote that, because I think that's really cool.
Oh, that's fine, man.
Really good advice, I think, for that sector. So last couple questions here, Tony. Just generic, open questions, man. I always typically finish like this, but I guess someone new in your role, what would you give them as far as advice, and say, hey, this is what you have to, well, at least I would want to know if I was fresh on the job in your role as a director of surveillance, what would you give for advice?
Probably the biggest advice, best advice I could get: never stop learning. Educate
to the choir. I love it.
Educate technologies. We look at the world today. Before, we used to have a VCR, and we had VCRs for years and years and years and years and years. Now we can have a CPU that is outdated in 6 months. Same thing with our cell phones. I mean, come on. These things are outdated in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
You have to stay up on the tech.
Well, dude, I just bought a new truck yesterday. You know that. I'm sure that thing already went down in price, probably. Out of the dealership.
Well, if you pulled it off the lot, it already dropped the price. So,
I know, dude. I know. You know what's funny though about that? Do we talk about supply chain issues and everything? Like,
yep.
So like my truck comes with like heated seats, but the chipset for the heated seats not in yet. So thank God I don't have it yet. I don't need it yet because we're here in the summer. But come the winter, I'm gonna need those heated seats, man. But it's just like, Jesus Christ, guys. But I dude, it's funny you say this, man. Never stop learning. I had a guy named Daniel Henderson. He's the manager of security for Regional 1 Health in Memphis, Tennessee. He said, Taylor, I will always be a continuous learner. Even by the time I retire, I'm always going to learn. And I love that, dude, because again, you can't teach that. You can't teach effort. You can't teach effort, right? And that's something that I want to say you're born with, but maybe you can adapt and learn and get better at. But that obviously resonates with you, man, because you're like, dude, how can I improve? How can I get better? How can I stay ahead, right? What can I do to make myself better, but also my employer better, right? And that's the mentality you have.
That's the biggest part. When this is all said and done, I'm Tony Clark. I'm nobody but what the company allows me to be.
Right.
They allow me to teach. They allow me to do these types of things to inform people. But when it comes down to it, without them, without the company itself, I'm just another guy, another face in the crowd, like we talked before.
Tony's just being very humble, guys, right now. He always says this is stupid shit. He's not. He's actually really fucking good at his job. I'll be his hype man and promote him. He's actually fucking incredible. Sorry for cussing a lot, but I'm speaking the truth, and that's what this podcast is about. That's what we do. Yeah,
that's what it's about. But no, it is kind of humbling though, being able to do this, especially shit like you and I met. What was that? A phone call?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. That's how I met Jolene too. I just found her at World Gaming and sent her a note. I was like, hey, we'd love to meet you at the conference. I mean, that's just, yeah, dude. Yeah,
that's funnier now because then she gets a hold of me and goes, hey, is this guy legit?
Yeah, who's Taylor May? Who's this creeper?
Who's this Taylor? Who's this guy, the security VIP? Is he a salesman? Is he cold calling my ass? No, seriously, it's legit. Go ahead and do it.
And that's what I hate too. And that's another stigma too in this industry, man. Like, I work for Recor and I love my job. I love the technology. My title is a sales title. But, I think with my podcast, people automatically think like I'm a snake oil sales guy, right? But it's like, no, I'm a relationship first kind of guy. Like I don't care if you ever buy my product. I want to establish a friendship over a partnership with a product. And that's how I've always been. And I think sometimes it's hard to kind of, promote that sometimes when you go to make new friends and new relationships, because they have that stigma in mind still about sales guys, just sales guys.
Yeah, but you're not that way. I mean, that's one thing I have noticed. You ain't trying to shove nothing down my throat. I had a call yesterday. guy just pops up out of nowhere and he's like, yeah, I heard you use Evolve. I work for this company solutions and we own 40% of them. And I'm like, well, that's wonderful, but I deal directly with the manufacturer and the owner. So what is your 40% going to do for me?
That's another thing tang guys. Go direct to manufacturer. Tony and I talk about this all the time too, man.
Oh God, yes.
That's a whole nother conversation, man. Tony, you agree, dude? You agree having direct line communication to manufacturer?
Yeah, as much as I possibly can. You do need integrators for certain things, for some of the bigger, huge projects, just because you don't have the capabilities with your own personnel when you're limited on staffing. But when it comes to purchasing this stuff, do it through the manufacturer. Reach out and talk to them. Save yourself the points. Come on.
Even the knowledge, dude. Have direct feedback. I mean, not only just price point, but just have the actual knowledge, because an integrator is never going to be a subject matter expert. They've got 100 products to sell, right?
Right.
Why not talk to the manufacturer, get a straight, BS answer,
It's, like I said, I'm getting ready to put a new system in here. So what do? Hey, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Do I deal with the integrator? No, it's not who I talk to.
Oh man, I love it, dude. I love it. All right. Last question. Last open question here. Simple question. Kind of a two-parter. Goals for this year, 2022. We're in Q2 of this year right now. We're in May. Happy Cinco de Mayo, by the way. Today.
Oh yeah, it is. Taco and tequila after this. All right,
dude. I know. We need some margaritas now. What's in store for the future, and I guess goals for this year, man, 2022?
Goals for this year. Actually, upgrade the system, add some more tech. That's my biggest goal. Upgrade the system and add
upgrades.
Tech throughout the entire nation, not just here at the casinos, but the entire nation. I mean, when you look at it, especially if you're a company, you're corporate based, why not create it just like your IT department? Everything goes back to a central hub. Why don't you do that with surveillance? Then you only have one small room you have to worry about working on instead of, we've got a recorder down over here in this portion of the RV park. So let's get in our van at 5 whatever it is a gallon right now and drive, to get that and then fix it and then come back. And when you could have sat right here and did everything right off of a laptop because it's all centralized.
That's another common sense, dude. We talk about this all the time. That's funny too, because like when I first met Josh and John, I think when Josh and John first had Cherokee Nation and the Hard Rock. I mean, they've been there for like 10 plus years or 15 plus years, whatever it is. But like, I remember John telling me one time, Taylor, we had, 5 or 6 different VMSs at like 2 different properties. And I was like, God, it's got to be a nightmare, man. He's like, look, but you know what? We finally consolidated to one system that's completely open that all of our systems tie back into. I'm like, there you go. Yeah. I mean, it's just, but dude, the amount of verticals I've seen that have just consolidated or not consolidated, but like have different silos and different MVR systems. It's why it's too complicated. It's confusing yourself.
You end up with more crap and equipment on your computer, on your desk, because you got to run this keyboard and this keyboard and hey, we got to switch to this other monitor. So we got to have a KVM set up. And in the meantime, we have a reporting system that goes somewhere else through another third party. And come on. Break it down, man. You're
confusing that operator. Maybe not for a gamer. A gamer would probably be like, I can do my multitask, but still, I mean, take
that person that's been here for 20 plus years, like myself, who's been in that same position and just, they enjoy it. But now you're throwing in all this tech and everything else, and why complicate it by adding another keyboard and everything? Just completely swap it out. Pull it up, put a new one in. Here you go. Here's your gold recliner. It's going to the deer blind. The new recliner is coming in and it's taking its spot in the living room.
There we go.
Simple. Do not add more crap to a desk. Eliminate it. Simplify it. Make it easy. Make it user-friendly. Because the tech is out there. The software is out there now too, especially with a lot of these new systems. Johnson Controls, Dellmeyer, and all that. You can program that dashboard to however you want it to work for yourself. Right. Shareabilities are amazing compared to some of the stuff that we used to be able to do, used to have to do.
So Tony, you're telling me no more VCR days, right? No more VHS tapes?
No VHS tapes. God, it's bad enough getting rid of analog cameras.
Yeah.
Full digital now, no more analog. So thank God for that even.
Oh my God, man.
Especially talking with some of these other people, and they've got like 3,000-4,000 analog and 2,000-3,000 digital. And I'm like, oh my God, your infrastructure just must be horrid on the back end.
Yeah, dude, it's mind blowing. I feel like every now and then, like when I travel, I hit the road a lot, and I can immediately tell when a client's like proactive or reactive, or it's like somewhere in between. And like obviously going to like a Walmart, for example. I mean, dude, you're reactive. They got analog cameras everywhere. But as soon as you walk into like an SOC and it's like a closet or it's like a tube TV, or it's like, dude, come on. They make plasmas now for like $50. Like, go get a plasma.
Exactly right.
Oh, dude. Well, cool, Tony. Contact information, man. If you want people to reach out to you or just want advice, because you do teach a lot of good courses. I know every year you teach a course at World Gaming, which I think is awesome. So I want to encourage my followers, my listeners, to go to World Gaming Conference every single year. It's a great conference. Tony teaches a great course. But Tony, for people that want to get more involved with you, man, how can they get contacted with you?
Probably the best way is through LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn, man. I mean, that's another great way to do it. Find me on LinkedIn, Anthony Clark, Soaring Eagle Surveillance, Soaring Eagle Casino, Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe. Look me up on Google. Google me. I'm there.
Google me and LinkedIn. Stuff we've been telling on the whole episode. Oh, if you're a sales guy, bring your A game with Tony. I'll tell you what, man.
Yeah. If you're a salesperson, please don't reach out to me. Don't cold call me, because you're gonna not like the answers I give you.
I'm gonna rip you a new one, man. I love it.
Yeah, I think that was what first time I met you. I'm like, yeah, one thing I'm not into.
Just be real, people, man. I just swear we're all humans at the end of the day. Just be real, be honest, be fucking transparent. I mean, tell you what, just be transparent, dude. That's one thing that I always say.
Definitely.
Well, Tony, man, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for hopping on. You're speaking at another conference this year. Do you want to talk about that conference real quick and where you're speaking?
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's going to be the Native American Security Symposium at the new San Manuel Palms in Las Vegas in October. One of the speakers, in fact, I think I'm on 2 panels on that now. Awesome. Started out as one, but last I knew, I'm on 2 different panels. One's on the surveillance directors panel, and I think the other one is a risk management panel. So
that's awesome. So guys, go check out that conference. Again, Tony's one of the influencers in the gaming sector, man. He's really good, highly knowledgeable, a huge expert for the field. So encourage you guys to reach out to Tony if you ever want advice or just want to sit down and talk about what he's doing, what's worked for him. He's always happy to just sit down and try to help you out. Just as if you're a friend in the casino sector, if you first time director of surveillance, I'm sure Tony doesn't mind reaching out. Or if you're looking for a job, I'm sure he would put you in the right contact. There you go, gamers.
Let's go to the white elephant in the room. Everybody's looking for employees. Come on, guys.
I love it. Awesome, man. Well, for those that have questions, comments, or concerns, you guys can email me at info@securityvip.net. All my content now is on securityvippodcast.com. That's right. I did create a website now for my content. No longer are the days of YouTube and Spotify. So I apologize, listeners. If you want to talk to me or you want to listen to our content and listen to incredible guys I feature like Tony Clark, you're going to have to become a subscriber on my podcast series. So securityvippodcast.com, securityvippodcast.com. You guys stay safe out there. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Gotta recognize